Hello and welcome everyone. Today I want to just talk about something that we call nurture groups. It's something that is a really fun, simple activity to encourage connection with your children and engage your children. And there are four specific principles that are taught during these groups, and they are huge life value skills that are very important in the success of life. So the first one is being able to receive care. The second one is being able to give care. The third one is being able to negotiate your needs. And the fourth one is being able to be your autonomous self. So those are the four things that are taught throughout these nurture groups. They are fun, they are playful, they are engaging, and they just build connection with you and your children all around. So before I jump into that, I want to remind you just to look down into the description box, and if you haven't already, sign up for my email list and just grab the freebies. There is going to be a new one with a handout on these nurture groups. So it'll be a quick little guide to just remind you how to run these groups and how to create it within your own home or your classroom, wherever you're doing these groups. So go ahead and click on the link, join the email list, and grab that handout that you can refer back to. And then also, if you like this video, like the video, subscribe, and just hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when new videos do pop up. And again, with that email list, I will be notifying you all when I launch that course on behavior and trauma and all of that. So let's jump in. There are 6 parts to a nurture group. The first part is really simple. It's just to review the rules. So the rules will stay the same. You can alter the wording of the actual rules, but the concept should stay the same. The first one is no hurts. We're referring to no inside hurts and no outside hurts. Inside hurts would just mean we use kind words, we don't disrespect one another, we encourage one another, and we are just there to build each other up. And then the outside hurts, no outside hurts, it simply means no physical hurting anybody else. Don't hurt yourself, don't hurt anybody else physically. So pretty simple. The leader of the group, whether it's the parent or the teacher, whatever place you are having these groups at, will explain what these rules mean, so you can make it as simple as you need to for the kids that you're working with. So again, no hurts would be no inside hurts, no outside hurts. The second rule is to stick together. Stick together simply means you physically stick together, right? You don't leave anybody by themselves. If you are in a group and there's a bunch of kids, then you just make sure that the kids include everybody else. It also means don't talk out of turn. So if somebody is speaking, you want to make sure that you're respecting their space and their time to have the time to speak and say what they need to say. So it means that we are respectful towards one another again. We listen to one another, we engage with one another, and really show respect within the entire group. And then the third rule is to have fun, right? So if we don't hurt each other, we don't insult one another, and we stick together and we're respectful to one another, the result is that we'll all have fun. So we want to explain those rules very simply to the children in a way that they can understand. Again, you can play with the words a little bit to fit your group, but the concepts, again, should stay the same. The other thing about the rules is that you'll allow the kids within your group to come up with their own hand signals to help them remember those rules. So, for example, if you were going to say no hurts, you could say no hurts. So the teacher or the parent would say no. So I'm going to do an example. I would say no, and the kids would do their signal and they would say hurts. So no hurts. The second one would be stick together. The stick together could be something like simple, like stick together, right? Teacher would say stick, kids would say together. And then have fun could be simple, like high five, hands, whatever. Just make it fun. Let the kids come up with their own. Again, if you have a big group, it might be hard for everybody to agree on something, but try to get just a consensus that works for everybody. So again, the parent or the leader says the first word, the kids say the second word along with the hand motion. So pretty simple. That would be the first part of the group. The second part of the group is the check-in. Here you're going to come up with a question for the group. If you're just starting out, you're just starting to get to know the kids, or this is like a new group or a new thing, you might want to start out with something pretty light, like what would be your superhero power if you were a superhero? Something like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite pastime? Those simple things. And as you engage more with these kiddos, if they're your own kids, you can jump right in and ask something really personal. But if it's like a classroom and you're working with kids in a therapy room or in a classroom, you want to start off pretty light so that everybody feels comfortable and not kind of pushed away right off the bat. Come up with a question. You also want the kids to explain how they're feeling with one simple word. They could use something simple like happy or sad or grumpy or whatever the word might be that's describing them in that current moment, and then for them to answer the question. Now during this part, you want to have something like a microphone or a magic feather or something that you could pass around the group so that when that person has that magic feather or whatever you want to call it, the whole group knows that that's the person talking and that's who we need to be giving our attention to. So make sure you have that available once you start these groups. And then each person will answer the question, give their feeling, and then pass it on to the next person for them to answer the same question. Now, this part allows the child to negotiate their needs because they can simply say, I'd like to pass this time, or can I please pass on this question? If they don't feel comfortable speaking in front of the entire group just yet, they are more than welcome to say, I would like to pass on this one, as long as they ask with respect. That's a huge part of this. We want to make sure that our kids are speaking with respect and that their needs are met and they are respected. So they are able to do that, and as they do it more and more, hopefully they will feel more comfortable and safe to be able to answer all the questions and participate. Then the third part is Band-Aids. So the parent or teacher, whoever the leader is, will have Band-Aids on hand. This is a really fun activity to teach kids how to give care and receive care. It's a really important aspect of life. We need to be able to do these things in our everyday life, so teaching kids young is really beneficial. So this is a simple activity where you have Band-Aids. You pair up the kids, and then they'll just kind of be within the group but paired off, and each kid will have a Band-Aid, and so you'll have a simple interaction to teach the kids how to act out this part. So the first child will say, do you have a hurt? The second child will say, yes, I have a hurt. Then the first child will go back and say, is it an inside hurt or an outside hurt? And the second child will answer. So let's say it's an inside hurt. They have something that's hurting their heart, or they're sad about something. And then the first child will go back and say, would you like a Band-Aid? And again, the second child can say, yes, please, I would like a Band-Aid. Can you please put it on my heart? Because that's where his hurt is, right? Because he has an inside hurt. And then the first child will go and put the Band-Aid on the child's heart. Now, if a child chooses to say that they don't want a Band-Aid or they'd like to put the Band-Aid on themselves, again, they're more than welcome to do that. And they just need to ask their partner with respect, can I please put the Band-Aid on myself? I feel more comfortable doing it myself. So again, they're negotiating their needs, they're being able to voice their opinions and their thoughts, and they're getting practice respecting each other in that manner. So once that's done, you'll reverse the roles of each child. The children will reverse roles, and then they'll do the same thing just the opposite way. And they'll both get practice giving care and receiving care. So yeah. That is the Band-Aids part. And then also, if the child feels comfortable or would like to share what the hurt is, or if they got a scratch on their arm and they'd like to share how they got that hurt, they're more than welcome to do that as well. And the child who's listening just gives their attention and respect, and they can say something along the lines of, I'm so sorry you have that hurt. Here's a Band-Aid, and that kind of thing. So just encourage them to be respectful, encourage them to be empathetic and mindful of the other person. Then the fourth part is the activity. This part is actually meant to teach self-regulation skills. This part will get your children a little dysregulated, but we don't want the kids to go so far off the deep end that you can't get them back. But it is fun, it is light, it is a playful activity. It can be something as simple as a role play with puppets. It can be a role play just with the children acting out. It can be red light, green light. It could be Simon Says or Red Rover, Red Rover. Any type of game that teaches some sort of life skill is what we want to do here. So this is something that you're teaching the life value skills as well as self-regulation. So the first part of the activity is when you're actually going to do the activity, and whatever the leader decides is the life value skill for that day is what you'll be practicing. So let's say that your life value skill is accepting no, right? So if you want to practice accepting no, you could play a game something like Mother May I. So the children need to ask the leader, whoever mother is, over on the other end, Mother May I take 2 steps forward. And then the mother actor gets to say yes or no. And the person who receives that no is getting practice accepting no, and they're also getting practice with engaging with a big group of kids. They're getting practice regulating themselves when they do hear that word no. They're getting practice with if somebody gets ahead of them, they have to be okay with that. So there's so many skills that can be learned through these fun activities, and the kids are all having fun, and it's light, and it's a lot of laughing, and just all around engagement and connection, and that's the huge part of these nurture groups. So then after you complete that activity with the kiddos, that's when you're going to practice the calming strategies. So the calming strategies can be specific to each child. You can teach the kids at some point any type of regulation skill that you would like. You can do wall pushes, you can do chair pushes, you can do even just floor pushes on the ground. Magic mustache is a really fun one because there's a pressure point right here on your upper lip, and that's a calming pressure point. There's pressure points right here on your cheeks that you can have the kids push on your temples. There's pressure points that you can teach the kids how to press on those safely. There are deep breathing activities. There are just a lot of fun things that you can incorporate and teach these kids. Weighted blankets, weighted things, weighted items that you can offer the kids. So whatever works for those particular kiddos, you want to make sure that you have available, number one, and you are teaching these kids how to use those strategies, because in a crisis or in a meltdown situation, we want our kids to be able to have practice using these skills so that they know what to do. We can use one simple word to remind them what helps them calm their bodies and their brains. So that is part number 4. After part number 4 comes feeding, and feeding is really fun and light. Again, it teaches kids how to give and receive care. It's a very basic need that we have, right? We all have to eat, but being able to feed somebody and be fed by somebody else is a really intimate thing, but it's also a really important skill to be able to have to teach these kids how to give nurturing care to somebody else and receive that nurturing care from somebody else. This also gives the kids a chance to negotiate their needs. If they're not comfortable with another child feeding them, then they can say, oh, I'd like to feed myself, please. So an example of this will be, you want to use something along the lines like gummy bears or gummy worms, something sweet, a candy, little things that you can put on a toothpick. You want to use toothpicks as well to, reduce the spread of germs and all of that. If you're doing it within your family, obviously you can use whatever you want and whatever fits your family's needs. If you're doing it within a classroom with a bunch of other kids, you probably want to use something that you can put on a toothpick so that the kids aren't sticking their fingers in each other's mouths. So with this also, you have the you also might want to have the kiddos wash their hands after the activity that they just did prior to this part. So that might help a lot of the spreading of germs as well. So again, candy is a pretty popular thing to use because it'll help associate the nurturing piece with the pleasurable experience. So that is the best thing, but you can use whatever you have, whatever you would like to use. It's very simple. Child 1 will say, can I feed? Oh, again, sorry. You'll pair up the kids again. They'll be paired up. And once you pair them up, the child 1 will say, can I feed you? And child 2 will say either yes, no, or can I feed myself? Again, you're asking with respect, and they are negotiating their needs because they're not yet comfortable taking food from somebody else in their mouth. But again, the hope is that as time goes on, they do feel more comfortable and they do feel safe to accept those types of nurturing care activities. And then number 6, the 6th part is just closing. This is a very simple part where you practice the rules again. You just review the rules again. Again, the leader says the first word, no. Kids say hurts, stick together, have fun. And then you'll have just a transition into the rest of the day. You'll have maybe a brief explanation of what to expect next. Just a simple transition to get you into the next part of your day. And then you'll have the kids just do, you want to praise the kids and you want to encourage them in their participation and their effort and how well they did during the nurture group. And then you want to just have a simple parting activity like air high fives or a thumbs up or round of applause, whatever makes sense. And the kids again can come to a consensus on their own on what makes sense for them and what the best thing for them is and what makes sense to them. And then you go on your way. So this again is just a simple activity that you can incorporate every day within the classroom. You can incorporate at your home. It builds these life skills that are so important for our kids to have, and it just builds connection in our relationship with all of our kids that we are interacting with and serving. So I hope that this helps. Again, grab that handout that goes along with it so that you can have a quick review on how to run these groups. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at connectedroots27@gmail.com, and keep looking out for the emails on the email list. Keep looking out for the launch of the course, and just have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.